In recovering from emotional abuse, one of the most important things I have had to do is recover my brain and my body. I've had to do a lot of work on my body physically because emotional abuse and trauma changed my microbiome. It also changed the shape of my brain. One of the things that it did from that was actually change the functioning. So when I get up every morning, and I've done this morning, I want to sit and learn and know what's going on in my brain. I want to know if I'm low in serotonin, if I'm low in dopamine, and there's two other ones which are the main ones, acetylcholine and Gaba. These are, so if you've had emotional abuse, if you've experienced trauma and you are trying to recover from that, you're most likely high in some neurotransmitters and low in other ones. So what I needed to do, and what I still do every morning, is I sit down and I try to, first of all, I learn. There's a really easy test. It's free, links in the description. You download it, you fill it out. It takes 10 minutes. Nothing to do with me. It was from a guy called Dr. Braverman, and he basically came up with a list of everything that indicates what is your dominant neurotransmitter. My dominant neurotransmitter is something called acetylcholine. It basically, lawyers have it, actors have it, people who are very good with words have, are acetylcholine dominant. People who are more chilled out are something called Gaba dominant. But if you've experienced emotional abuse and trauma, what happens is that, so the Gaba neurotransmitter is the one that just allows us to relax. It allows us to fall asleep when we need to. You know, if you drink, if you drink alcohol and you get sleepy from it, it's because alcohol has increased the level of GABA in your brain. And it's kind of what happens, especially with narcissistic abuse, and especially over a long time. If you've been gaslighted over a long time, your brain learns to adapt. My brain learned to adapt in ways which meant that I would survive. But after the gaslighting finishes, then my brain still continues to work in that way. And so part of my recovery, and this is, my brain governs my body. So if I'm always on the lookout for, if I'm always on the defensive, if you've been around narcissists for a long time, then you're always on the defensive. That means your stomach is always on edge. You can't relax, and your body is, functioning at a high capacity the whole time, and it wears out over time. For me, that meant that my stomach didn't digest properly. That meant that there was a buildup of bacteria which was not beneficial. Some overgrew, some good bacteria overgrew, some bad bacteria overgrew. All of this has an effect on my body, on my hormones, on my brain. And so each morning I get up and I ask myself, okay, what's going on with my body? And I've learned this over the last few years. It's kind of, I can tell, I want to know if I don't have enough dopamine. Dopamine is our kind of get up and go. It's, you want it in the morning. I want to be able to get tasks done. And if I don't have enough in my body, then that means that, I'm not going to be able to get stuff done. It also increases my levels of ADHD. It also increases my levels of autism along with everything else. And that makes life really, really difficult. But if I can just sit in the morning and go, okay, what are my levels of dopamine like? And actually, so on this, it's basically a whole bunch of questions. And it's going to indicate to you, so I find it easy to process my thoughts. That's like the first question on dopamine. Second question, I concentrate effectively. I'm a quick thinker. All of these are to do with how dopamine affects your thinking, your brain, and your body. With another one, which is serotonin, I'm often low in serotonin. And for me, that means that I am often reaching for chocolate. Because I'm low in serotonin, one of the kind of consequences of that is that I reach for chocolate. And because chocolate increases the feeling, actually it doesn't increase serotonin, it increases dopamine. But it's kind of one of the consequences of being low in serotonin is that I reach for chocolate. It sometimes means that I binge on chocolate if I'm unaware of it, which is the idea behind sitting in the morning and working out what's going on with my body. And this is incredible for me, especially as a recovering foodie, recovering anorexic, recovering overeater, I would binge on chocolate, especially at night. And they've known this for years. They've known this from the 70s. Anorexia used to be more regarded as kind of late night binge eating. You'd starve for a long time and then have uncontrollable binges. I would have that on chocolate. And what I didn't realize was that I was low in serotonin, and that was massively increasing my chocolate binges by adding in a serotonin supplement. So I can either take, if I increase tryptophan, it's that stuff you get from, they always say at Christmas, everybody eats too much turkey and they kind of fall asleep. That's because turkey contains tryptophan, and it increases your tryptophan levels. It means you sleep well. And there's also something called 5-HTP. It's a supplement. If I take 5-HTP, within 48 hours, chocolate falls out of my entire life. I don't feel the need for it anymore. So I go from, binging on chocolate, or I have gone from binging on chocolate to suddenly not needing chocolate anymore. The only thing I've changed is that I've increased the level of serotonin in my brain. For me, that's absolutely remarkable. It's life-changing. And I don't understand why more people don't shout about this. For me, especially with so many people that I know who have trouble with eating disorders, lots of my friends have had trouble with eating disorders. If I can do something simply like that, it's nothing to do with the spiritual capacity. It's nothing to do with emotions. It's to do with biological functioning. It's like if I get in the car to drive somewhere and there's not enough gas in the tank, I'm not going to make it to the other end. It's as simple as that. It's not the fact that, I didn't have enough faith that I would make it to the other side, to my destination. I didn't have enough gas in the tank. So that means if I don't have enough serotonin in my body, because I've also been on a very restricted diet, which means that my normal sources of serotonin haven't been there. So I need to increase my levels of serotonin, because if they're missing, I can do all the meditation I want. I'm never going to feel kind of happy and complete because I'm missing a major neurotransmitter. So what I need to do is just become aware of, and I do this through this list. I am an evangelist for this list. It's literally changed my life. If you can get to know me, getting to know my body, and what's going on, it's really as simple as that. If I'm low in serotonin, if I'm low in dopamine, if I'm low in the others, if I'm low in Gaba, because if you've had emotional abuse, you've used up all of your chill out neurotransmitters. Your body and your brain isn't used to chilling out. It's always on edge. So even when you sleep, your brain is processing, functioning. And so you just need to add in Gaba. And for me, one of my favorite things is valerian. I make really strong valerian tea, and I just go, and my brain is like, thank you, because it chills out. Those who've had narcissistic abuse, there are specific neurotransmitter patterns. If you can take a neurotransmitter test, you do it, it's a urine test, and it comes back and it lists all of your neurotransmitters. And those people who have had narcissistic abuse, you can tell from their neurotransmitter patterns, because they're low in one, high in another, low in this one, low in this one, because they've learned, their body and their brain has learned to function over time, and it leaves the clues. Because if I can get to know that, then I can literally change the levels. I can increase my Gaba level. That's the calming neurotransmitter in my body, so that I'm not stressed the whole time, that there's not that trauma going on the whole time. There's something called that in your brain, there is a ratio between glutamate and Gaba. These things sound funny until you get to know them. Glutamate is basically, the panic neurotransmitter. It's kind of, okay, right, we need to get out of the burning building. And if you have experienced narcissistic abuse, that is going to be really, really high. And you need to redress the balance, the ratio. You need to increase Gaba, the chill out neurotransmitter. You need to bring down the glutamate levels, because otherwise it's going to feel like your brain and your body is on fire the whole time. And that, for me, that is what trauma feels like. A lot of the trauma that I have experienced and healed from is to do with biological functioning. It changed the way my body works. It changed the way my brain works. And I need to learn what I can do for my body to essentially function normally again. And it's as easy as taking a supplement to increase serotonin, or whatever it is for you. The list is going to tell you what it is. It's going to tell you what your dominant neurotransmitter is. Mine is, again, acetylcholine. It means that I am someone who likes to speak a lot. I like words. I like words more than numbers. If I'm low in acetylcholine, which I often am because I can't eat eggs, I'm fully allergic to eggs. I can't eat cheese. I can't drink milk. I can't do any dairy. And the neurotransmitter that is my dominant neurotransmitter governs the speed at which our thoughts happen. It governs the speed at which the electricity travels up and down our spine, which means that if I'm low in this neurotransmitter, then I feel sluggish. I feel that there's something missing. I'm not so good with my words. ADHD increases. Autism increases. And a lot of it's to do with the fact that choline, the stuff that helps increase this level of neurotransmitter, comes from dairy mostly, and eggs. And I can't eat these because I'm fully allergic to them. So I can get them from other sources, but I need to learn what's missing before I can add in what I need. All of this stuff, for me, recovery from any trauma, any abuse, any addiction, because also, dopamine. If you're low in dopamine, then you're going to be chasing the high. You're going to be trying to get dopamine. When they say, we're always on our phones looking at Instagram, trying to get the dopamine hit. Well, for me, that's the basis of addiction. But it's not the fact that we're actually we're low in dopamine. If I'm low in dopamine, I'm going to look at my phone more. I'm going to look at Instagram more. But actually, I can get dopamine from other sources. I can sit with my body in the morning and go, okay, how are my dopamine levels? I can read all of these things. It's like, how am I, feeling like exercising this morning? How am I feeling about doing work? How am I feeling in general? And then for me, learning about dopamine is super easy and super exciting, super fun. I'll put on a song on YouTube, a song that I really love, a song that really, gets my heart going. And then it finishes 3 minutes later and my body feels different. And it's because I've increased the level of dopamine in my brain. And then I feel ready to more go out and either exercise or to do whatever it is I want to do during that day, to get going, to do my work, to make these videos. And it's simply because I've increased the level of dopamine in my brain from listening to a 3-minute song on YouTube. For me, that is how I get to know my body. That is how I get to know my brain. It isn't about going and doing a PhD in some sort of whatever. I just, day by day, want to get to know my body more and more so that I can better understand how the trauma affected me and what I need to do today to live a normal life so that I can live happier, certainly with more joy, connect with the world. The world is, look fucking crazy right now. I also want to be able to, feel when the fear comes up because there's so much gaslighting. I want to be able to observe what's going on when, social media, people are talking to each other, people are shouting at each other, there's fucking narcissists standing on, political platforms. I don't care if you think that people with blue ties got it better, people with red ties got it better. I just don't care. I want to be able to recognize narcissists when I see them. I want to be able to hear their bullshit and go, this guy is manipulating. This guy is gaslighting. She is doing this. He is doing that. And I want to be able to recognize the emotion that goes on in myself, in my body. Is there any fear? I want to be able to look and see, is there any fear that I feel when that person is saying that? And if it is, why is it triggering me? It's probably something historical. It's probably because I've had a lot of narcissistic abuse in the past and somehow I'm being reminded of it. I want to know what kind of neurotransmitters are going on in my brain at that time. If glutamate, if suddenly my brain is going, narcissist, run, and then be able to pull it back, be able to have that valerian tea to know what the answer is. Because if I see that, the answer for me isn't interacting on social media and kind of replying to this guy or making a statement. It's like, first of all, recognize the emotion that's going on here, the feeling that is going on in my body. So usually in my stomach, that the stomach crunch, the gut crunch when you feel the fear. And I want my automatic reaction to be, okay, I need valerian tea. I need increase my Gaba levels, decrease my glutamate levels, bring it back from DEFCON 1, the world is ending, 2. Okay, everything's all right. There's crazy people in the world, crazy shit going on. I want to be able to bring it back and go, oh, okay, what I can do today is I can make a video on neurotransmitters, and that today is how I'm going to contribute to the world. I can't stop World War III, whatever the fuck it is today. I can't stop this from going on over there. I can't stop that from going on over there. But I can make a video and say, look, my experience of recovery from narcissistic abuse and trauma is in getting to know my body, is in healing my body and knowing what it is I can do each day to increase, my recovery and my chances of recovery. It's not perfect by any means. I get it wrong all the time. I end up, fully entangled with narcissists, but it's getting less and less as I become more aware, as my body becomes healthy, as my brain becomes healthier, and slowly. I encourage you, download this list. It's nothing to do with me. There's no money involved. It's totally free. It's literally going to take you 10 minutes. Look, checkbox exercise. Let's look at this one here. What does it say? It literally says, exercising makes me feel powerful. That can be true for me, but most of the time I don't want to exercise. Why? Because I'm low in these things. Download the list. Tick the boxes. Count them up. It's going to indicate to you how your brain is working. And from that, for me, is the start of recovery, because neurotransmitters control our whole lives, and trauma control our neurotransmitters automatically without us even knowing or thinking about it. So trauma controls our entire lives unless I become aware of how the trauma is doing that. Right, that's it, guys. For me, I think that it's crazy shit in the world. I don't know what's going to happen. I have to kind of relax every day and go, okay, it's all going to be okay. Apocalyptimist. It's the end of the world, but it's okay. Each day, what can I do to help? This is what I've done to help today. This is the first live I've done, so I don't even know how to end it. So let's see. Okay, I'll see you guys later.